when you went?
So the first one, I went with my mom.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they're just hoping I don't get more, which is
That's
unfortunately it's not gonna. Yeah, that's I don't know about that one, Chief. But the other day I was on Reddit because I'm a degenerate like that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Apartment 308 YouTube channel. How are y'all doing today? This is a podcast, it's called It's Been a While, where I get together with a friend that I haven't seen in a long time. We just talk one-on-one, catch up, and learn stuff about each other. Today's guest, I have my friend Hina. Say hello, Hina.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Yeah, and I know some of y'all thinking, yes, I finally have someone from the US that I'm going to be interviewing today. Yeah, you're my first US guest, you know.
Oh, I'm honored.
Yeah, I mean, my past guests are from different countries, but yeah, this is the first time we're gonna, someone I'm familiar with, more familiar in terms of country wise.
True.
Yeah, so how you been, Hina?
Good. Just going through life. I mean, not much to do. Just stay at home, watch Netflix, play video games.
Yo, that is everyday life right now, pretty much.
Yeah, right. And then going back to school and
dude, school.
Online classes are not it, man.
Yeah, and you guys should listen into the last Let's Hang Out podcast where me and my friends we talked about Zoom classes. Haha, just putting that out there. So today, Hina and I we're gonna be going over Hina's tattoos. Hina has a couple tattoos that mean a lot to her. We just want to know why she got them, what are the meaning behind them, and how does it feel to have them. If you guys want to hear more on our take about Hina's tattoos and about how you can get some tattoos yourself, make sure you subscribe to Apartment 308, like the podcast, comment, and share this with all your friends. Alright, let's get started. So Hina, how many tattoos do you currently have right now?
Right now I have 4, but I definitely want to get more. I'm planning on it for sure.
So what are the 4 tattoos you have right now?
So I have the 2 on my ankle. I have a Roman numeral 7, and then I have a rose. I have one on my wrist, which is it's an arrow, and then in the arrow's in the middle, and then surrounded by it is a bunch of flowers. And then the one on my back is a lyric that a friend of mine wrote out a long time ago.
Ooh. So
yeah.
So which of these tattoos did you start with?
I think it was the Roman numeral 7, yeah. It's pretty small.
How long ago was this?
I think that was 2 years ago. Yes, it was 2 years ago. It was in April 2019.
That felt longer, to be honest, when you first showed me.
Yeah, longer. I know, right? It feels like I've had these forever.
And then what's your most recent one? Or the last one you got?
My most recent one is the one on my wrist, which is the arrow. Actually, I was kind of afraid to get it in that spot, just because, the other 3, I can kind of hide them easily with, clothes. And, my mom was, telling me, you probably don't want to get it there because you can't really hide it, and, it could probably stop you from getting, a job or something. And I was like, I can't think of anywhere else where it would go better, and I like it there. So yeah. I'm just gonna jump the gun and get it, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's my choice. I live with the consequences.
Yep, it's your choice. So let's talk about why you decided to get these tattoos. So what was kind of your main reason to get yourself inked up?
Okay. So when we were in high school, I had a friend who had a full sleeve, and it's as weird as it sounds, I used to, when I got really anxious, he would let me sit down next to him and sort of trace the lines and look at the work itself, and it would sort of help me calm down. And also I just think tattoos are really cool. I know I've always, not always, but I've known since I was 17 that I wanted to get tattoo just because I feel like it looks cool, and also like, to be honest, ever since getting these, I kind of feel more confident in myself.
Oh, so I never heard of anyone say that a tattoo is like a confidence booster before.
Yeah, it is for me for sure because I got them in like places that I don't really like about, like in like places of my body that I don't really like about myself. So it was more just kind
Oh,
of like, hey, like, if I want to show these off, like I'll have to like go out of my comfort zone and feel like better about myself. And it was also a matter of like, oh, most people, not most people, I guess generally speaking, a lot of people think tattoos are cool. And I feel like, me personally, every time I see someone with tattoos, I just think, oh, like that's so cool. Like I want to be their friend, or like I want to know, like, like I want to know
you want to know
why
more?
they got it.
You
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
know more behind the art, which is actually a really cool thing to like talk
Yeah,
about.
exactly. And I think tattoos are a great form of like self-expression.
They are
Um,
really.
they definitely tell you a lot about a person, and it's interesting too because you see a lot of people with like full sleeves and big like chest pieces, or like incorporate like a whole sleeve incorporating a bunch of like different things, and you just like look at it and you're like, yeah, like that's that person's personality. Like their tattoo styles, or like the types of tattoos that they get, are really like reflective of who they are as a person. And like some of them you can just see fit together, if that makes sense.
Mm. What was the most cool tattoo design you've ever seen on like someone else?
That's a great question. I've seen so many.
It really is a hard question, huh?
Yeah,
Because
yeah. Well,
I will say that there are a lot of really cool, like you said, there's a lot of cool like tattoo designs. I especially like it when someone gets like the really huge ones, like you see like on their back, especially. Those ones are
yeah,
hella
yeah.
cool.
Like a full back piece, like that's incredible. I could never. Um, I think right now, like the coolest tattoos that like I've seen recently are definitely my brother's. Like he has it on one arm, so he has like a sleeve going on, and these are all, he didn't intentionally plan for them to go together, but they're all like really they're heavy on like black and like negative space, and they have little hints of like red too. And it was so cool. Like I saw it and I was like, dude, like I saw it and it made me want more.
Whoa. I, I want to also add, like, real quick, it's just whenever I do see someone with, like, tattoos, I always think, like, damn, they're hella badass for that. But then, of
Yeah,
course,
exactly.
when you get to know the person, you're like, oh, okay, they're a little bit different from what I first expected. Because I feel
Right.
like the tattoo itself, it's supposed to be the first impression.
Right. Yeah.
Because, of course, that's what you can visually see on that person.
Exactly.
I don't know, do you when you see someone with a tattoo, like, yeah, like, what would you say is like a first impression?
Um, Usually when I see someone, it depends on, well, first of all, it depends on the first tattoo that I see, right? Because people
Yeah.
have multiple ones. Um, Generally speaking, I would think that like they're the kind of person that likes to, like a creative kind of person, or someone who really appreciates art so much for what it is and that they want to put it on themselves.
Oh yeah, definitely. Most people I've met before, whenever they get tattoos, they're yeah, most of the time they're like an artist, like yeah, actual like painting slash sculpting artist. I'm like, yo, you got some good
Right.
designs.
Right.
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, but usually sometimes when you're getting a tattoo, you draw it yourself first, right?
Um,
Most of the time, or
no,
can you just pick like a preset selection?
so with tattoo designs, you usually most of the time you come up with the idea yourself, and either you can draw it and then your artist can take an interpretation of it, or you can get someone to draw it for you and your artist will take an
Oh,
interpretation, or they can draw it themselves. Um, which is usually what they do. Like you'll go up to your artist and you'll say like, "Hey, like I have this idea for like a koi fish or whatever," and then you'll explain what you want, and then they'll kind of take your vision and what do you call it? Interpret it in their own way.
I
But there
see.
are also flash tattoos, which are the ones that you see, the ones that you're talking about, where it's like preset and they have like a whole bunch of designs. So what a tattoo artist does is they'll like draw a bunch of designs and stuff for their portfolio, and then on some like specific days, like Friday the 13th, for example, you can get flash tattoos, which are the ones that are already like pre-made, and then you can't pick, or like you can't ask them to
Oh,
design something. You have to pick from their like
interesting.
category or.
Have you ever
Mm-hmm.
considered about getting one of those flash tattoos before, or you just
Oh,
want to stick with your design?
I've definitely seen flash tattoos that I've wanted. Like the tattoo shop that I go to, they did a Disney flash for
What?
Friday the 13th, and I saw some of the designs and I wanted them so bad. Like there's like a Lilo and Stitch. There's like Toy Story, Mulan. Like some of them are really good, and
I
I've
can I can definitely see a tattoo design for something like Mulan and Lilo and Stitch. I'm surprised he did not say what was that Nightmare Before Christmas.
they do that too. There's a lot of that.
I am not surprised to be honest.
Me either. Me either.
Also, I can't imagine someone getting like a tattoo of like a Mickey Mouse somewhere. I mean, like, have you remember as a kid you get like those little water tattoos on your skin?
Yeah. Yeah, the temporary ones.
Those were
Yeah.
the hey no, those were the shit back then. Are you kidding me?
No, they're great. I'm not like maybe that's where I got my like love for actual tattoos from, huh?
What about what's it called? Like, aren't they called like henna tattoos? The one you just spray them on? I
Henna, yeah. I've gotten one of those too.
I've seen my
They,
friends wear those before, but I've never actually tried it myself.
interesting. It's really nice. I think it's cool.
Well, it's probably because I have really sensitive skin, but we'll get into that later. Why I haven't done tattoos, even though I kind of want one. So we kind of already explained like how you usually get your design. So let's dive in more on the process of getting your tattoo. So first of all, how did you decide on which tattoo artist you're gonna go to for your first one? How much research did you put into it?
To be honest, not okay. Not as much as I probably would have liked. I started with looking on Yelp, looking at things nearby, just
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't really have like the means to go very far in terms of
Right.
getting my tattoo. And then I asked one of my friends who already had tattoos by then, and I was like, "Hey, like, do you have any recommendations for somebody who's like near here that I can go get from?" And then she told me about this tattoo shop that I currently go to. And so I looked it up on Yelp, looked at their website, looked at looked at the artist Instagrams and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is pretty simple. So for the first tattoo, I was like, it's pretty simple. Like anybody can do it. It doesn't really matter. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I sort of just, went in there and was like, hey, like I want this on my ankle. But usually, if you want something specific, you will go out of your way to like look for someone who does like what you want
Mm.
specifically. So like black work or color, you want to do a little more research than that. That's if you want like an original piece, but with little like symbols and stuff that you can get anywhere or like get off the internet or make yourself. For the most part, you can go to anybody for those.
So also I heard from like a few friends before they like as soon as they like they find an artist that they're interested in, they would usually go up to them first to interview them about what kind of design they want. So did you have to do that when you first went to this artist?
I personally haven't had to do that yet, just because, again, as I said, like I already had an idea of what I wanted in mind, and it was pretty simple in execution. But Um, Usually, what tattoo artists will charge for, it's called a consultation, which is what you were saying is like an interview. So you sit down with your artist,
Oh,
and they'll talk to you about their portfolio, like what they're good at, what they can't do, what they won't do. They'll ask you for your idea, and then usually they will take your idea and make something. They can either make something on the spot for you, or you can come back another day and they'll have something ready. Um,
right.
yeah, so it really depends on like what you want to get and how big you want to get it, I guess.
Yeah, because like I said before, my friends, I said this one guy, for example, he wanted to get like a lightning bolt tattoo on his arm, I think his right arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and like he never gotten a tattoo before. It's like his very first time, and of course, he was nervous about it. But yeah, like you said, he did had to do like a what was it? You said consultation meeting?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did go up to an artist he knew or like he was friends with, and it's like, yo, can we talk about this lightning bolt design? And a month later, he got it, and then it looks badass. So moving on,
Definitely. Sorry,
yeah.
continue.
Oh no, I was about to move on, but is there anything else you
Right.
wanna say in terms of
Oh,
like meeting the tattoo artist?
not necessarily meeting them. I just like want to put it out there that like you definitely like before you go in there, it's a good idea to have at least like a one solid idea of what you want.
Right.
It just makes it easier for everybody. But it's totally okay to just go in there and get something on a whim too. Like I'm not saying that that's for the most part. Like if you want something and you have a specific idea in mind, like be specific. Don't be afraid not to be. It's your body. It's your art. It's gonna be on you forever. Might as well make sure you really like it.
I've I've never heard of a situation where someone just walks into a tattoo shop is so like, hey, can I get a design of this? Alright, it's just up to you now, you make up the rest. I've never heard of like a story like that. But I also heard like tattoo horror stories where the artist messed up like majorly. I was just like, oof, big fail. Which I honestly don't know what happens if like an artist like messes up on your tattoo. Like how bad are the repercussions like afterward?
I mean, you have two options. You can either get it lasered off, which is usually more painful and more expensive
Ow.
than getting the tattoo in the first place,
Ow.
or you can get a cover up. Cover ups are hard to do. So,
I can imagine.
yeah, because
Uh,
you have to work around existing lines and everything already.
I can't
Anyway,
I can't imagine lasering your tattoo off. It does sound painful.
yeah, I've seen, no, I haven't seen like a lot of videos, but I've seen a couple. Looks unpleasant. Would not want.
Okay, so we already discussed how you find your artist. You kind of have to talk to them about what kind of design you want. So, how scared were you getting your first tattoo? Like, oh god, I'm getting inked for the first time. I'm not ready for the needle.
To be honest, I wasn't as scared as I thought I would be. Probably because I like knew what I wanted for like 3 years at that point. And I was like, okay, like this is gonna be like super chill, it's gonna be super fast because it's not that big.
Mm-hmm.
Um but it's definitely like scary because walking in there, it's like walking into a tattoo shop for the first time. It's very like intimidating because usually you'll see other artists at work and you'll be able to see like what other people are getting, and it's kind of like it sort of feels like you're walking into school or something for the first time. Like it's just intimidating because
Oh.
you have this idea in your head of like, whoa, like people who come here and get tattoos are like super like badass, or like super
So kind of going back to like what we said earlier about someone with the tattoo, you always like first impressions, right?
yeah, yeah,
So you had that like mentality as soon as you stepped in, huh?
yeah, yeah. But my tattoo place was very like nice, very clean. Um, it's awesome in there. Like I love walking in there and seeing like all of the art on the wall and seeing what other people are up to, what they're doing. But yeah, like it's definitely daunting at first, but it helps if you have someone there with you. I mean, you can't do that right now because you're in the middle of a pandemic. If
Right.
I mean, if your tattoo shop is open for business during the pandemic, most likely you're going to be the only one in there with your artist, which is like slightly terrifying, but like it's okay.
Yeah. So, how many friends did you bring over when you went?
So the first one, I went with my mom.
Oh boy.
Yeah. No, she actually, okay. So what happened was so my mom is like generally against tattoos, but and you would know this. I knew what I wanted from like at like 17 years old, and I would ask my mom like every year for like my birthday or for Christmas if I could get a tattoo, and every time she'd say no. So like I'd ask her when I was like 17, she'd say wait till you're 18. Then I turned 18, I asked her, and she was like no, like maybe when you're 21. Um, and I like she probably figured that I was going to forget or like want something else, which
Right.
is why she never really like bugged me for it. But then one day I wrote up like this message to her explaining why I really wanted it. And I sent
Mm.
it, and she was like, okay, like, sure, like, you can get it. Like, I respect your decision. Like, I'll come with you. And so she actually came with me, and then she paid for another one of my tattoos for my birthday, which is kind of cool. Um,
Damn. Wait, how much? Wait, how much does a tattoo usually cost?
oh,
I
so,
know the pricing's like different, like per like art style and size, but how much was
yeah.
like your small ones?
Okay, so my tattoo shop has a shop minimum of 100.
$100 per tattoo.
Yeah. Okay, I think it was 80 at first, and they moved it up to 100. But the reason why they have a shop minimum is because, you're paying for your artist's, like, time and effort, and you're also paying for, like, the cleanliness, you're paying for the equipment. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
definitely.
just your tattoo. Yeah. So they definitely, like, most shops will have shop minimums. Mine is 100. So it ended up being, like, 110, 120
110
after
for
the
a
tip.
tattoo.
After the tip, yeah,
That
it's
doesn't
pretty
sound
expensive.
well. That doesn't sound too well. Actually, yeah, it is kind of expensive for a small one, but I do understand like all the
It's
expenses that goes through getting one of
yeah.
these.
Oh, and while we're on the subject of money and expenses for tattoos, I would also just like to advise anybody out there: it is definitely better and definitely worth it to pay more for a tattoo if you know that the place is reputable and it's going to be good. Trust me, you do not want to end up with like a $50 like trashy. I'm just saying, like, do not be afraid to go all out on something that you really want
Just like
because it's gonna be
oh
worth it in the end.
yeah, just like the past episode I did with my friend Fiona, and it's been a while. Please respect your artists. They are putting a lot of time and effort, and especially if it's on your skin, the toughest canvas to even paint on. Yeah,
Absolutely.
give them a lot of credit for what they do. Lesson of the show. Yeah, so you went to the place, interviewed the guy, you brought your mom over. I can't imagine how your mom was feeling when she was looking at you getting inked.
It's definitely an interesting time, but like at the end of it, like she actually really liked it. She liked how it turned out. She liked the placement. She thought I did a really good job, like putting a lot of thought into what I wanted. I personally want to get like all of my tattoos that I currently have like a lot of meaning to me. That's like my personal belief is that I want to get tattoos that mean a lot to me. But I know a lot of people like to get them just because they're cool, and
Yeah.
no, like, no judgment on that, like, no hatred on that. Like, I think that's cool, you do you, but I personally, if I want something on my body forever, it's gonna have a meaning to me.
So I know usually like after you get like your tattoo at first, it's gonna hurt for a while. So for you, like how long does it usually take for your like skin or like the body part to heal up from getting tatted?
If you heal it properly,
Well,
it will usually take a week or two. No,
I heard.
depends. Okay, it depends on where you get it, and it depends on, again, like the size and how well that you heal it. It can take from like, okay, so scratch what I said last time. Definitely not going to take just a week. It'll take like okay, it'll take like 2 weeks to like a month to be healed
Holy
fully.
shit!
Yeah,
A full month? Well, I mean,
yeah.
I guess if you got like a big one on your arm, I guess I think that would make sense. What do you mean like the proper treatment of healing your tattoo? What is the proper treatment?
My Okay, so when I got my tattoos, my artist recommended to me to um, wash it twice a day with water and like a little bit of soap. So, okay, so after you get your tattoo, usually it's like wrapped in like gauze or something with like a gel substance thing to keep it. And then they'll say keep it on for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then after that you can take it off. After you take it off, you have to go and wash it well, thoroughly, with just a little bit of soap.
And
And
wait, the
don't.
oh
Hmm?
sorry. So you
You're
mean by
good.
like they put the gauze like right after you just got the tattoo? I just wanted to
Yes.
clarify. Okay,
Yes, they
sorry.
put it over. Yeah. Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Um, so after you unwrap it and you wash it well, just a little bit of soap, and do not rub it in because
It's gonna wipe
pain.
off and it's gonna hurt,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yes, and also just don't. Like, they recommend that you don't do that because it's like a wound. You're washing a wound. You don't want soap in it.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so after that, usually they'll tell you to keep it away from sunlight because you don't want it to be like, you don't want it. Okay, keep it away from prolonged like exposure to the sun and to water. Like, taking a normal shower is totally okay, but like, don't go swimming or anything like that. Um,
I didn't know you have to also keep it away from sunlight too. I've never heard of that.
well, I mean, no, you can still like walk. You can go about your like daily life,
Right?
like doing stuff like outside, but like don't like go to like the beach with like a new tattoo and like sit out in the sun and like tan or like go in the water.
Oh. So it's okay
Um,
for like a short period of time, not for like a long period of time.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then I started first. So the days after that, for the first 2 days or so, like 2 to 4 days, I use Aquaphor, um, which is like an ointment if you don't know what that is.
I use
And I'll
Aquaphor
put it
too.
and I'll put it and I'll put it like lightly over the after I wash it. So what I did, how I heal mine is like in the morning, like I'll wash it, and then I'll put Aquaphor on it, and
Right.
then I'll wash it again in the evening, and then put Aquaphor on it. It's gonna get really itchy, which
Oh boy.
really sucks.
Oh
Like,
no.
trust me, it really sucks, and you have to resist the urge to scratch. Um, so if you don't want to scratch, and when it gets itchy, they always recommend to put more Aquaphor in it, but don't put too much. And then after the Aquaphor bit, you switch over to like an unscented lotion. Um,
Mm.
I use Cetaphil, which is, and I continue, to keep doing that until it stops, sort of, because it'll also start to peel, which
Oh man.
it's as gross as it sounds.
Uh,
it's as uncomfortable as it sounds. Also, so I'll just keep doing that for as long as they want me to. Usually, when it's like when there's like the thin like layer of skin that's like built up over it, that's usually when you can like if you've healed it properly, you can stop
right.
your healing process after like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it depends. It really depends on your body, where you got it, and how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just real quick, the thing for me is like the main reason why I never get like tattoo is because yeah, my skin is so sensitive. Really, it is. Like whenever something, because I have bad allergies, skin
Mm-hmm.
allergies, really bad. And
Mm-hmm.
whenever I get like a bad skin allergy, like my skin turns red and I get itchy a lot.
Mm,
So that's kind of
yeah.
like one of the main reasons why I don't get tattoos, even though I kind of want one for myself. But that's like the main reason I want. I really want to protect my very my very sensitive skin, and also
Right.
too, I'm not really good with needles. I'm not good with
Yeah.
needle. Are you kidding me? I've gotten like blood tests a lot before, and I'm still scared to go to the doctors to do them.
Are you allowed to get tattoos? Also, like that's another thing. I know that
Oh, I mean,
comes
we'll
with.
get into that. We'll get into that in a bit, but I will say, like, I don't think my parents are gonna allow me to get a tattoo anytime soon. But we'll talk about that in a bit, like, how how our parents would react if any of us got tattoos.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing in itself too.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Um.
the only needle I'm not afraid of, give me that COVID-19 vaccine.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm right there with you. I will say though, like I also don't like needles. I don't really like injections, but like
with
it's
with a tattoo
it's
needle, it's very different because it's just
it
poking the skin, right?
it is different. Yes. Like at first I never understood what people meant when they said like, oh, it just feels like cat scratches, or like someone
Uh,
is like kind of like dragging a pencil. Like it it's really what it felt like for me. And like at first, I mean, there are definitely some parts and some areas where like it hurts more than the others, but like for the most part, I actually like I never understood why people said this until
until
I
you got
got one
yours.
myself. Yeah, yeah. People said like people would literally say like, oh, like for me, like getting a tattoo is like relaxing. It's like therapeutic almost. And I was like, what? Like how could that possibly be? And then I got the one like on my back and then the one on my wrist, and I was like, yeah, I understand. Like
that
this is
this shit
actually
hurt.
like somewhat relaxing for
that,
whatever reason.
that shit hurt. That shit hurt. Well, I mean, I have gotten like people that wrote pen on my skin before, but that's just a regular ink pen. We're talking like a real needle here, and I've never owned a cat, and every time I've like pet a cat, they usually don't. They're usually nice to me, so I never get scratched. So I don't know how that feels, but I can imagine like yeah, it's probably a bitch. And after what you explained about healing, it's probably kind of worse. But is it worth it? Totally.
Absolutely. I mean, I might be a little bit biased, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we briefly mentioned about, you know, parents approving tattoos. We've already mentioned like at first like your mom was like very against it, but then after like talking to her and messaging her, she was finally convinced about getting tattoos. And I think this is a common thing for like most Asian parents, especially for like you and me, Hina, is that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Asian parents really like disapprove tattoos, and when their kid gets them, they're like, "Do I still think of you as my kid at this point?"
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, for
that's the
sure.
thing that kind of sucks. So I'm curious, is like, what did your parents like specifically say, saying, "Oh, don't get the tattoo"? Like, did they have
Um,
reasons for it, or just they were just very like disapproving of it?
I think, like, from where we're from, like, tattoos are considered, you think of like gangs or like
Oh yeah.
dangerous, like, yeah. So and they think of like some of my family members, not my immediate family members, think that like tattoos are like they make you look like dirty or like ugly or something like,
Right.
they think that the skin is like a sacred thing, and like they're not wrong. It really is.
Yeah.
Take care of your skin, kids. But like,
Hey, no,
but
you don't have to tell me. I know why. You heard why I can't get tattoos.
I think like we're lucky to live in a time now where getting tattoos is less frowned upon and less taboo, and becoming more like a mainstream thing, and
Yeah.
becoming more of a tasteful. That's not to say that like all tattoos are like in poor taste. It's just, this is what grown-ups think. Like it's becoming more of a tasteful thing. It's more about like art, and less about like uh branding or something like that.
Right.
It's interesting because as I mentioned earlier, like my brother has tattoos. They didn't really approve of that either,
Mm-hmm.
but it was surprisingly like easier for him to kind of continue getting them. I think it's because he's um, he's a guy and it's a little more like accepting, I guess. Like not by a lot, but it's a little more accepted if a guy has tattoos versus like a girl.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah,
I've heard like people talk shit about when a girl gets a tattoo.
yeah. My dad doesn't really like them, but I mean it's okay. Like he's gotten used to it. They're just hoping I don't get more, which is
That's
um, unfortunately
hmm.
not gonna. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
I don't know about that one, Chief, but
Yeah, I will say it's like, well, for us Asian Americans, like you said, like we are at a point in time where we're considered lucky. Like here, like it's more accepting to get at tattoos, but um, so this is like the fun fact of the podcast today. So in countries like Japan and Korea specifically, their tattoos there are a little bit more frowned upon. Japan, of course, everybody knows. Most Japanese people don't get tattoos because they always associate them with, oh, you're in the Yakuza gang. We don't want to mess with you.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think, what was it? Not too long ago, Japan actually made tattoos like okay to wear publicly because they do accept like it's an art, it's a person's choice to, add that to their body.
Mhm.
But still, not that many like Japanese people like get tattoos, and especially if you're going to go like to like a job interview, well, you better hide that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
For Korea, it's a little bit different. I think they allowed. I'm pretty sure they allow tattoos, but like I said, it's a little bit more
Uh,
frowned down upon. Two
I'm
major
pretty
exa-
sure. Oh, sorry. Continue.
I was gonna mention like two major examples, which are Jungkook from BTS and Chaeyoung
Mm-hmm.
from Twice.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing with Jungkook is like he has tattoos. I think mostly on his hands, on his knuckles specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and he's okay to wear that, especially like during shows. I don't know where else he has tattoos. I think he has an arm tattoo. I can't remember. If any armies out there want to correct me, please tell me in the comments.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either. I think it's cool he has those though. I think as far as I know, and I could be wrong again. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Um, I'm pretty sure because I've like I watch a lot of like tattoo videos because I think they're cool. I'm pretty sure tattoo shops are still illegal in Korea.
Really?
Yeah,
Because
so
yeah.
they're kind of like hidden, and um, you sort of just you have to know someone who knows where they are.
Mm, yeah, and then another example too is the other example I mentioned, Chaeyoung from Twice, who is my favorite Twice member. I love her. Like Jungkook, I think she also has tattoos around her hand and arm area. But here's the thing about like with the female idols, if they have a tattoo and then they're gonna go on stage, they have to cover that up. Well, the hands, they can't really do much about the hands, but like if it's like an arm tattoo, like they're like, yeah, nope, get her an outfit that'll cover that up. We don't want that showing on camera.
Right.
And I was like, damn, they're really trying to cover up like good art. But
Yeah, and self expression.
but again, it's like it's kind of, I think it's what most Asians believe. What you said earlier is like the skin is the most sacred part of your body, and you don't want to ruin
Right.
it. You want to protect it as much as you can. So I
Right.
understand
Exactly.
that. But again, it's just like that idea of like self expression. This is your choice. I want to express myself by getting tattoos, so
Right. And I personally don't think that getting something that you really like or that you really like love and want to like emphasize on your body. I don't really think that, again, me personally, I don't really think that that's ruining your skin. I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool. I like to think of like we're just like canvases and you get to put art that you really love and
yeah.
display it everywhere and have it like like to me it's kind of like you're taking control of your body because you get to control what goes on it and what doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Here's another lesson of today's show. Just express the way you want to express. If you
Oh
want to
yeah.
get a tattoo on your body, get a tattoo on your body. If you want to dye your
don't,
hair a different color, go ahead and buy some hair dye and do it.
don't let anybody stop you. Life's too short.
Exactly.
Genuinely.
Exactly. Well said.
Yeah.
So, you have, you said you have like four tattoos, right?
Yes.
So, another question I want to bring up is, we hear that every tattoo you get, like, there's a story behind it. Every tattoo
Mm-hmm.
has a story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, and if you don't have to go into in depth of it if you're not that comfortable. It's okay. But
Mm-hmm.
out of the tattoos you got, like, which one has the most like meaningful story to you? If that's okay with sharing.
Hmm. They're all like pretty meaningful and they all kind of lead back to the same thing. But if I had to pick like my favorite, and I think the one that like means the most to me in terms of like events and people, it would probably have to be the one on my wrist because so the arrow itself is like it's a logo from something, and um, it's a logo for like a project that some friends of mine were in for a really long time. Um, and then I got the idea of like the flowers that go around it from another group of friends of mine who I was like talking about getting this tattoo for. And they said, you should get like, why don't you get like birth flowers, because every month has like a specific flower. And I was like, that's a great idea because I really like flowers. So I looked up, I think, a picture on Google or Pinterest or whatever. I looked up like pictures of birth flowers, and then I picked three because there's three of them. So I picked the three flowers that corresponded to like the months that they were born, and then I put it like around um, the arrow. So what it means, or what it represents to me at least, are three of the best people I've come to know, like in my life, which is
Mm,
interesting. This is probably interesting for you to hear because you know that there have been multiple instances of people that mean a lot to me, and I will put it out there right now that these are not the same people I'm talking about. Um,
right.
and we went through something together that was sort of okay, maybe not together, but I was there when they experienced something that was kind of like it was a really traumatic event, and I was like, this was like 4 years ago, and I couldn't understand, like at the time, I couldn't understand why they did what, like, why they acted the way that they did after it happened. And I remember like being so like angry and upset and just all around selfish because I was like, why? Like,
Mm,
why do we have to stop being like friends because of this or whatever? And I didn't
yeah.
understand until it happened to me like a year later. And like it's so weird now that I get like this tattoo like 4 years later, 4 years after everything happened. But it's because I like buried that memory so deep, I think, like in
Right.
my own subconscious, and I didn't think about it until quarantine comes along, and then like your past gets all like dug up. And like, to be honest, as sad as I might sound right now, like I don't regret that at all. I don't regret having like having that event come back like into the light and into my life and sort of show me like what I've missed and what I didn't appreciate at the time. So
Mm,
this tattoo has like kind of become for me like not only as a symbol of like the trauma that I've been through, but also just as like here's the appreciation that I never got to give the people
so
at that point in time.
it's basically just a way of showing you're being thankful for them, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like when I got it, to me it was like there's no question about this. And it's funny because and sorry for rambling, but
No, it's
I
okay.
had I had a different like tattoo idea in mind entirely. And like the day comes that I'm gonna get it, and I was like, okay, like I don't want that. I don't want that. I want this. And it was like so impulsive and so like I even told my mom, I was like, I don't want that. I want this thing. And she was like, okay, like, did you really think about it? And I started to lie to her, and I was like, yeah, like I did, because I knew if I said no, she wouldn't let me. And so this is like the most impulsive tattoo that I've gotten to date, but like I don't regret it at all. Like even now, months later, like I still love it. To me, it's a literal like symbolism of like they've made such an impact on my life that I want to carry it with me forever.
Mm, I see. Yeah, I can really see that, honestly. Like, yo, I felt that, man. I felt that all. I like you got. I'm like, man. I'm like on the verge of like tears right now. That was really touching, Hina. Not gonna
Oh,
lie.
oh,
But
sorry,
yeah,
I
no,
didn't
it's
mean to
okay.
make you
But
cry.
yeah, but like I said, like every tattoo has its story, and of course, there's always that one specific one that, of course, means a lot. So, but yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's really, it was very touching. I'm gonna say.
Thank you for letting me share. And if 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 I may impart like a lesson upon people here, I know it's so cliched to hear from people like check up on your friends or don't take the time that you have with your friends for granted. And believe me, I was one of those people who never understood why people would tell me that all the time. But it's true. Like it's cliche, but it's true. Please, like please, please, if you have like someone out there that you really care about, um, check up on them every once in a while. Tell them how much you love them. Tell them how much you appreciate them. Just do something. And you know, even though I know that they won't hear this, I just want to say to those people that this is for, um, thank you. Thank you for being such a big part of my life and for helping me grow up and for being my home away from home for a really long time. Y'all mean a lot to me. And again, to everybody out there, like if there's someone out there that means a lot to you, go give them a hug for me.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% gonna agree with you on that. Yeah, no, shout out to all the friends that brought us like to this point in our lives. Like, thank y'all so much, and
Absolutely.
thank y'all for tuning in.
That
support the
too. That
support the
too.
channel. Support the
Support
channel,
the.
please.
subscribe. If you're a real friend, subscribe.
So to finally wrap things up, what are your plans for the next tattoo you're gonna get? Even though your parents are saying that's it.
I don't know. I have a lot of ideas bouncing around in my head. I kind of want I want something video game related, but I don't know what. The other day I was on Reddit because I'm a degenerate like that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Reddit is great sometimes. So I was on Reddit and I was scrolling through the subreddit for Detroit, not the city, the game. Detroit Become Human.
Best game, by the way.
It is a great game. I mean, okay. As an aside, David Cage sucks, but this game is great. No, this game is great. Anyway, so I've been super into that game as of recently because I finally finished Jacksepticeye's playthrough 2 years later, and then playing through it myself. And I was like, hey, does anyone have any ideas for a tattoo that isn't necessarily in bad taste? Because most of the android symbolism is very or derives it from historical symbolism, and I didn't want anything to be seen as insensitive or offensive. So I was thinking maybe I could get an LED ring, not on my head because no.
You see a neon blue just glow on top of your head. It's like, oh god, she's one of them.
People actually have those. I think it's kind of cool, but I'd get it on my wrist or something, or a thigh tattoo, I don't know, Kingdom Hearts or something. I've always really liked the Keyblade tattoos. I think they're cool.
The Keyblade ones are cool. I was gonna suggest oh yeah, this is spoilers for the game, but there is a part, I think, main story part where Marcus, when he starts up his revolution, you get the choice of what symbol you get to use. So I was thinking if you are gonna, well, I mean, I know Marcus isn't your favorite character, it's Connor. I know that, but
yeah.
Don't worry, it's mine too. It's fine too. But I was thinking you could probably get one of Marcus's his revolution symbols tatted.
Yeah.
Or also what is it? I think it's the triangle you see on most of the androids. I can't remember exactly.
The one on their uniforms and stuff.
Oh yeah, the CyberLife logo, I think.
Or I could get RA9 or
Oh, that would be dope. RA9.
Or RK800, but on the ankle. That would look kind of I don't know. A lot of people were suggesting the symbol for Jericho also, but I'm not sure about that one.
I would say for myself, I've already stated the many reasons why I wouldn't get a tattoo, but if I did have to get one, originally I wanted to get a knife on my right arm, a big knife or a sword on my right arm, because I used to play a lot of GTA 5 back in the day, and I got that on my character, and it looked pretty cool. I'm I want that same tattoo. But honestly, I'm there's not going to be a meaning behind it. So instead, and I'm stealing this idea from one of my roommates. I am sorry. You can flame me later, but I do want to get a 308 tattoo somewhere. I think I want it. I think on my right hand, because this channel and also just the apartment itself, those were the good times, and also it is a symbol of that room brought a lot of people together. It brought a lot of friendships, relationships, whole bunch of stupid shit that we used to do. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get a 308 tattoo soon. Well, if my skin allows it. That's the thing.
Love that. It's very, very hopeful and very sweet.
Thank you.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, when you were talking about how you used to want like a knife or a sword or something, I genuinely considered getting the Master Sword from Zelda, like
Oh, I've seen those.
on
Yeah.
like my hip, because you know how like when you, I mean, I don't know why I'm explaining this. Y'all probably know what a sword looks like, but like you know how like when you like sheathe your sword and put it away, like
Oh
it's
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
like
It's like it's
against your hip.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like on the left or right
yeah.
side. Yeah, that would be cool.
It would be cool, but it would be very painful and very expensive.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of It's Been a While with Hina. Before we sign off, Hina, is there anything you want to shout out before we end today's show?
Shout out to my tattoo artists, both here and both where thinking because I got one of them in Manila, so shout out to that one. And also, not a shout out, but a recommendation. Please go play the game.
Play Detroit Become Human.
No, like genuinely, like I like it. Like okay, David Cage. Listen, he okay. This man does not. He's not like subtle is not in his arsenal. Okay, so you will get beat over the head with like historical metaphors and connections and stuff. But like if you can just put all that aside and like all of like the menial interactions where it's like, oh, like do this to open a door or whatever, like go play the game.
Yeah.
Not on PC if you can help it. If you
Oh,
have a PS4,
I know.
go
Good
play
thing
on
I
your
got that shit on
PS4.
console.
It's a great game, and it's the only game of David Cage's that I will ever play. So
Definitely.
that says a lot. And also, thank you for having me. It was very, very fun to talk about all of this.
Oh yeah, no. Thank you for joining the show. Yeah, this was like you said, it was really fun.
It's nice to like feel like an expert on something, even though I only have like 4 tattoos.
Oh no, I feel that. So, anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. It's been a while. Make sure you subscribe to Apartment 308, like the podcast, comment some of your tattoo stories and which ones you have and what they mean. Share this podcast with everyone, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.